Alright, so I just want to go over the differences between the two amps. This is the 100 watt amp, and this is the 250 watt. They're both from Shark Cycle Audio, and they're both really great. Both amps come with two waterproof marine grade speakers. They come with all the cables you need. They come with an auxiliary jack and some mounting brackets and all the hardware you need to get it installed on your bike. This one was about $60 and this one was $117. I'll have the link posted somewhere and you can go check these out for yourself. The main differences between these two are the larger has an FM radio tuner, and it comes with this little antenna that you can mount where you like. And it also, by using this button here, you can adjust your bass and your treble if you feel like equalization is something you really need to be fiddling with on your bike sound system. The other thing I really like about this larger amp is it comes with this kind of an Ethernet cable that goes straight to this remote. So you've got a volume up, volume down, a mode, and a mute button. So you could, adjust the volume, shut it off, or switch between radio and auxiliary input while you're going down the road. That's really handy. I like that because, I want it to be up here, out of the way, so I don't, try and get myself killed every time I adjust the volume. On the back, both of these are pretty similar. You've got, I've got this upside down. You've got your DC power input here, and then you've got your right and left speaker inputs. This third output here is for a subwoofer. So I guess if you really wanted that rock and bass on your bike, you could go buy a motorcycle subwoofer and have it installed. What else? Well, I'd say that this amp was probably the better value. At $60, you get everything you need. You got a 100 watt amp, which is plenty loud. You get both speakers, like I mentioned. You get everything you need. So for $60, you get a pretty loud amp, and for $120, you get an even louder amp with some clearer sound and a remote. I don't really see any reason why you wouldn't want to get this one. I mean, it's small, it's really easy to install, and it's a great value for the money. This one though is just louder, and well, that's why I bought it, because it's louder. As far as hooking up your power goes, you'll just take you've got two of these little U-shaped connectors here that come with it. You just plug it into the back of your amp here, and then you run your cable down. This is the battery compartment. You just unbolt this, pull out the battery, unscrew the connectors, or the terminals, and screw in the connectors. I decided to run this cord kind of along this crease to better hide it, and then I ran it under this piece of plastic here to keep it out of sight and to keep all the excess wire under there. Let's see if you guys can see that. You can't see it very well, so we're going to try and alright, and to install the speakers, it's pretty simple. Originally I was going to drill some holes in here and just mount them directly to the fairing, but that was kind of complicated. I ran into the issue of needing a brace under here and having to deal with some heat shielding and dealing with holes in the fairing, and it was just going to be a big headache. So I took out one of these little Allen bolts here, and I just replaced it with a long Phillips head bolt. Then I put this little metal washer on here, and I had to grind the sides down to get it to fit. And then I put the bracket on and installed a lock washer and just bolted it all together. And I like this setup because if I ever need to go back to a completely factory look, it allows me to do that. It doesn't leave any holes in there, and if I want to take the speakers off, I can. These, it's not perfect. I mean, the speakers still kind of move around. I guess you could either call that a poor installation job or a really great installation job of a adjustable speaker system. But it's not like these are going to be wobbling all down the road while you're going, so it's really not that big of a deal. I've taken this bit of cable here and I've unbolted this piece of plastic and just kind of run this cable under here to keep it out of sight. That's just a matter of personal preference. I just kind of like it to look cleaner. Later on I might decide to paint this bolt set up here black or something so that it blends in kind of better. But that's just up to you if you want to do that. Personally, I like everything to look pretty clean, and so in the future I'll probably do that, and I'll work on a better solution for keeping all this other stuff out of sight. Alright, well now what I'm going to do is just give you kind of an off-bike demonstration of what the sound is like, so you get a better idea of really how loud this system is. So the biggest difference between the 100 watt and the 250 watt amps, aside from the features, is that the 250 watt amp, when it was all the way up, there was just no distortion. It was just a whole lot of really clear, really loud music. The 100 watt amp was kind of distorted when you turned it all the way up. But then again, I didn't have any trouble hearing the 100 watt amp going down the road. It's just a matter of preference. Okay, I just wanted to show how I have these two different amps mounted. This smaller one comes with this patch of Velcro here, and so I just put the matching part of the Velcro over here, and then you can kind of close it almost all the way there. You don't want to close it all the way because then it could, sever your little speaker wires or what have you. I like this setup because it's out of the way, it's out of sight, and it gives it more of like a factory look. If you've got a 2010 Concours, I'm sure you wouldn't have any trouble doing the same sort of mounting setup in this side over here where you've got your compartment. For the larger amp, it was really just too large to fit into that compartment. So what I do is I just plug in all the wires and then toss it into my tank bag. It gets pretty hot in here, but that's kind of the nature of an amp. If you guys have any solutions for keeping the temperature down or keeping these better ventilated, please let me know. Then what I do is I usually run the remote out here, and then I plug in my iPod over here, which allows me to adjust my music and my volume pretty easily. So either one is really easy to install and access. I like this because this kind of takes everything with you when you're done. You just grab the whole bag and when you want to get off the bike, and it keeps all your stuff safe, so you don't have to worry about anyone taking it. This is a little better shot of the speakers here. Kind of adjust like that if you want to play music to birds, or really tall people. It's just because the bolts are kind of loose is why it moves around like that. There's the washer, and the bolt, and it's got a lock washer underneath. That bracket is just right behind the larger washer. It's a pretty clean setup. If you didn't know anything about Concours 14s and you walked up to the bike, you would probably think that these came on the bike, and I really kind of like that clean factory OEM sort of look.